In January 2022, this man was worth $26 billion. Investors called him the next Warren Buffett. Politicians lined up for his donations. Celebrities put his logo on their jerseys. He ran one of the biggest crypto exchanges on the planet, and millions of people trusted him with their savings. 10 months later, it was all gone. Not slowly, not over years. In 10 days, this is the story of how a $32 billion empire collapsed because of a single message posted online, and how the man at the top ended up sentenced to 25 years in prison. His name is Sam Bankman-Fried. Friends and headlines just called him SBF. He was a math kid out of MIT who had worked at a high-powered Wall Street trading firm. In 2019, he launched a crypto exchange called FTX, a place where anyone could buy, sell, and bet on cryptocurrencies, and FTX grew fast. It was slick, it was easy to use, and it offered the kind of advanced trading tools that serious investors wanted. Money poured in. Some of the biggest venture capital firms in the world handed him hundreds of millions of dollars, barely asking questions. By January 2022, FTX was valued at $32 billion, more than 1 million users, billions in deposits. But the real genius was the image. SBF didn't drive a Lamborghini. He wore cargo shorts and a wrinkled t-shirt, he slept on a beanbag at the office, and he told the world he was only getting rich so he could give it all away to charity. It worked. He bought Super Bowl ads. He put the FTX name on a stadium. A-list celebrities vouched for him. To regular people, FTX didn't feel like a risky crypto startup. It felt safe, so they parked their life savings there. That trust is the most important part of this story, because that trust is exactly what got betrayed. Here's what almost nobody knew. SBF didn't just own FTX, the exchange. He also secretly controlled a second company, a private trading firm called Alameda Research. Now, these two were supposed to be completely separate. The exchange holds your money. The trading firm makes risky bets with its own money. A wall between them. There was no wall. Behind the scenes, FTX was quietly funneling its customers' deposits, the money real people thought was sitting safely in their accounts, over to Alameda. Roughly $10 billion of it. And Alameda used that money for wild, risky trades, venture investments, luxury real estate, and political donations. To hide it, insiders had essentially built a secret backdoor into the company's books, a way to move customer money without setting off any alarms. And it gets worse. A huge chunk of what made FTX and Alameda look so valuable was a token FTX had invented itself, called FTT. Think about that for a second. They printed their own currency, declared it valuable, and then used it to prop up the whole empire. It was a fortune built on paper they made themselves, and paper burns fast. All it would take to bring the whole thing down was for one person to stop believing. And in November 2022, one person did. November 2nd, 2022, a crypto news outlet, CoinDesk, published a leaked look at Alameda's finances, and it revealed the bombshell. Alameda's so-called fortune was largely just FTT, the token FTX printed. The crypto world froze. If the trading firm's wealth was mostly built on its sister company's homemade coin, what was any of it actually worth? Then came the message that lit the fuse. November 6th, the head of Binance, FTX's biggest rival and an early investor in the company, announced on social media that Binance was dumping every FTT token it held. That one post was a vote of no confidence heard around the world. FTT's price started crashing, and panic spread instantly. Everyone with money on FTX had the same thought at the same time. Get it out, now. It was a bank run, except this bank had already handed your money to someone else. By November 8th, the withdrawals were too much. FTX quietly froze them. Officially, they blamed technical issues. In reality, the money simply wasn't there. SBF spent those days desperately calling rivals and investors, begging for a rescue. For a brief moment, Binance even floated buying FTX, then took one look at the books and walked away. That's when the real number came out. The hole in customer funds was around $8 billion. $8 billion of real people's money gone. On November 11th, 2022, FTX filed for bankruptcy. SBF resigned in disgrace. The man brought in to clean up the wreckage was John Ray III, the same restructuring expert who had untangled the Enron scandal years earlier, and even he was stunned. He later said he had never in his entire career seen such a complete failure of corporate controls. The collapse was just the beginning of the fall. In December, SBF was arrested in the Bahamas. His closest insiders, including the head of Alameda, who happened to be his ex-girlfriend, turned on him and agreed to testify. At trial, prosecutors laid out a simple story. This wasn't a clumsy mistake. It was fraud on a massive scale from nearly the beginning. He was found guilty, and in March 2024, the golden boy, who had been worth $26 billion, was sentenced to 25 years in prison. But here's the part most people don't know. In the years after the collapse, the bankruptcy team chased down FTX's scattered assets, and crypto prices recovered. They recovered so much that customers are actually being paid back in full. Many are getting more than 100% of what they were owed, which raises a haunting question. If FTX had simply paused and waited instead of secretly gambling the money away, most customers might have been fine all along. The tragedy of FTX was never really that the money vanished, it's that it was taken and bet in the first place by a man everyone trusted. So what do we learn from a $32 billion empire that fell in 10 days? There's an old warning in crypto: not your keys, not your coins. The moment you hand your money to someone else to hold, you are trusting them completely, and size, hype, and a friendly image are not the same thing as safety. The biggest empires aren't always the strongest. Sometimes they're just the ones the most people believed in, and belief, as FTX proved, can disappear in a single afternoon. If you want the next story of an empire that burned to the ground, subscribe, because there are a lot more where this came from, and drop a comment. Would you have pulled your money out in time? I read every one.